Peter Parker is broken. Everyone he ever knew is gone, and he's left alone with one final constant friend, Spider-Man. The new movie should start with Peter diving headfirst into his alter ego. MCU Spider-Man hasn't really had to face the crippling loneliness integral to Peter Parker's character. Given the circumstances, it's the perfect time for him to face that and tackle a version of the Venom storyline in the process. So Spider-Man starts helping out everyday people. He doesn't need to focus on world-ending threats like before, and he's trying to build a reputation as a man of the people more than an Avenger. However, he's struggling. J. Jonah Jameson is spreading anti-Spider-Man rhetoric, and it's turning the people against Spider-Man. Peter increasingly finds that people don't want his help. He's finding it harder and harder to be a hero. Spider-Man wants to clear his name, approaching Matt Murdock to represent him in a defamation suit against J. Jonah Jameson. Matt agrees and gets to work building a case. At the same time, Spider-Man starts investigating a series of break-ins that have similar MOs. He's able to figure out that the break-ins are targeting sites owned by Fisk Construction, and manages to intercept the thief at the next one. It's Black Cat. They have a scuffle, but she gets away. Spider-Man returns home and is surprised when Black Cat knocks on his door. She quips at him and says they could make some real money together. She tells him being a hero doesn't pay. Peter says he's not interested and she leaves after giving him her phone number. Shortly after, Peter gets reminded of how his rent is due and he can't afford to pay it. Peter is emotionally vulnerable. He's got no one and he's desperate for some sort of connection, so he gives her a call and they hang out. Black Cat's casing her next Fisk Construction site and she explains how they're all drug fronts. She's stealing from criminals. She takes photos of the site preparing for her heist, but they're more than practical, they're artistic. Peter admires this and we start seeing his passion for photography. While they're watching, some thugs arrive and start shooting the place up. Spider-Man jumps in to stop them while Black Cat leaves, telling Peter he shouldn't get mixed up in this. Spider-Man stops the gunman, but their boss arrives. It's Black Tarantula and he has the Venom symbiote. He beats Peter within an inch of his life. Peter's faced aliens and universe-ending magic, but he's always done it in a team. The only time he was truly alone was in Homecoming, and he very nearly died. Black Tarantula burns the site down and leaves Spider-Man in the dirt, but a sliver of the symbiote leaves Black Tarantula and attaches itself to Peter. Spider-Man wakes up in a warehouse, tied up a prisoner of Kingpin. It turns out that Kingpin and Black Tarantula are locked in a turf war, with Spider-Man now caught in the middle. Kingpin says that he'll pay Spider-Man to take down Black Tarantula's drug operation. Spider-Man gets to fight crime and gets paid for it. Spider-Man says he's not interested in working with a drug dealer, so Kingpin offers to go clean, telling Peter he just wants out of his life of crime. So Peter agrees. Kingpin gives him a map of relevant locations and Spider-Man swings out of there. Black Cat's waiting for him outside and she says she was wrong. Being a hero does pay. Black Cat accompanies Peter to one of Black Tarantula's warehouses as she bets there'll be a stash she can take. They break in and take down the thugs, working together and quipping all the way. Once everyone's taken out, Black Cat starts looking for the vault, and Spider-Man helps her out. She says that what she's doing isn't exactly hero work, and Peter says that as long as they're stealing from criminals, he's okay with it. At this point in the story, Peter is straying away from the path of the hero. His morals are being tested, and we're seeing Spider-Man fall from grace. Black Cat takes the money, and they go back to Peter's apartment. Once they arrive, the landlord knocks on the door demanding rent, and Black Cat throws a stack of money in his face, saying it should at least cover a number of months. Peter acknowledges that a little crime has its benefits, and once the landlord is gone, the two of them smooch. We get a montage. Spider-Man and Black Cat out on the town, taking down warehouses, busting drug deals. Their morality mixes. Black Cat helps out with hero stuff. Peter helps Black Cat steal from Black Tarantula. It's a whirlwind love affair, leaving destruction in its wake. Peter dons a black suit that the two of them make together. She is his Venom, the only emotional connection he has left after No Way Home. He's twisted around her finger, and he loves it. Meanwhile, Peter is getting headaches. He's becoming more irritable. The piece of Venom symbiote that attached to him is affecting him, although it behaves more like a normal parasite than a traditional depiction of Venom. When Spider-Man appears in court for his defamation case, he mouths off at Jameson, giving Black Cat the eyes across the room. He feels a need to prove himself, and it comes out as sass. Behind closed doors, Matt Murdock tells Spider-Man that he needs to present a better image in the courtroom, but Peter retorts, saying he's sick of being trodden on, and it's time for people to respect him. Matt tells him that he doesn't want to represent someone who's making the choices that Peter Peter is, revealing that he knows Spider-Man is working for Kingpin. But Spider-Man says he doesn't care. If Matt won't represent him, he'll represent himself. It's important to note that Peter would normally never act like this. He's in a very dark place after No Way Home, and Black Cat is manipulating him. Ultimately, Matt drops the case, and Black Cat pushes Peter to take a different approach.
I like being bad. It makes me happy.
Spider-Man and Black Cat break into Jameson's house, Spider-Man clad in his black suit. They threaten Jameson, warning him that if he keeps lying about Spider-Man, there'll be consequences. Kingpin contacts Spider-Man. It's time to take down Black Tarantula. By this point, Peter is basically a mob enforcer. He's at his lowest point and he doesn't even know it. He's gone too far, and it's time for him to pay. Spider-Man and Black Cat approach this like any other mob warehouse, taking out the guards before coming up against Black Tarantula. He was too much for Spider-Man on his own, but with Black Cat and the symbiote for backup, they're able to take him down. Peter goes too far, beating Black Cat once he's down, taking revenge for their first fight. It's similar to the ending of No Way Home with Green Goblin. Peter can lose control when no one's there to stop him. Black Cat enforces Peter's mindset, telling him that he's hot when he's angry. She then goes searching for the stash that would normally be at one of these warehouses. She finds it, but Spider-Man senses something's wrong, warning her and trying to pull her away. But he's too late, and the warehouse explodes. Kingpin's men are firing RPGs at the building from outside, demolishing it. Peter gets blasted away and battered. At that moment, one of the Venom headaches strikes, immobilizing him. Through the flames, he sees a black mass pull itself from Black Tarantula and make its way towards Peter. The mass turns into a creature without form, and a claw reaches for him. The piece of symbiote that attached to Peter leaves him and merges with the rest of the mass, which says Peter's name in a growl, then jumps away. Peter stands fighting through smoke and flame to make his way out. His black suit torn and burnt, he searches for Black Cat but can't find her. Finally, he stumbles out of the building and collapses on the ground, watching as a shadow takes out Kingpin's thugs. It's Daredevil.
I'm a really good lawyer.
Following the release pattern of the last few movies, I'm assuming Spider-Man 4 will be coming out in late 2024, after the release of Daredevil Born Again. Go watch my Daredevil video to see what he's been up to. Daredevil carries Peter up onto a rooftop and chains him up, chastising him for working with Kingpin. Peter argues that everyone he cared about is gone, and no one likes him thanks to Jameson. Daredevil isn't impressed and tells Peter it's not about being loved, it's about being a hero no matter what people think. It's about responsibility. That takes Peter aback, reminding him of Aunt May. He realizes he's lost his way. Thanks to him, Kingpin has reasserted his control over New York and Black Cat is dead. It's time to be a hero. It's time to be Spider-Man. Daredevil is important for two reasons. Peter needs to be shown that doing the right thing is important and can work. He needs his faith in heroism restored. No Way Home showed Peter that being a hero can mean losing everything, so he needs a taste of idealism right now. Secondly, Peter needs to start making new friends. By introducing him to Black Cat and Daredevil, we prime him for more street-level characters, allowing us to have more side characters going forward. It also offers a different approach to Spider-Man's side characters, as the main side characters of all previous Spider-Man movies have been love interests in the form of MJ or Gwen Stacy. Peter changes back into his normal suit, and he and Daredevil set off to take down Kingpin. He's holed up in his personal apartment building, thugs on every floor. I think we all know Marvel third act action scenes need to change. This could be a raw, John Wick-esque struggle to reach the top floor, a combination of Daredevil's corridor fight scenes and the end of Far From Home. Daredevil and Spider-Man working together in tandem to fight this big bad is a chance for Spider-Man to become truly street level. Instead of aliens or Stark drones, Peter has to fight a series of goons with hand-to-hand experience. Their danger to him comes from their skill rather than their superpowered nature. They get to the top floor and come face to face with Kingpin. We get some top tier acting from Vincent D'Onofrio as he says he hasn't done anything wrong. Spider-Man did all the dirty work for him, so they have no reason to take him in. There's no way the police will arrest him. Spider-Man and Daredevil lose. And that's okay. They leave Kingpin with a warning. They'll be watching, and if he makes a wrong move, they'll come for him. Part of being a hero is knowing when to fight and when to walk away. In a mirror of Green Goblin, Kingpin tries to taunt Spider-Man into a fight, playing on the death of Black Cat, but Peter says he knows Kingpin is trying to bait him into a fight so he can press charges and pin the death of Black Tarantula on Spider-Man. He's done being Fisk's pawn. Here we see that Peter has started acting more rationally, rather than basing his actions on emotion. He's grown up. Peter returns home and opens his laptop, finally ready to pursue his life as Peter Parker with renewed confidence. He begins an application for college, hinting at future movies. Outside his window on an opposite rooftop, a very much alive Black Cat watches him work, smiling. But then the black goo covers her and we see she's been taken over by Venom. Peter senses something. He looks out the window, but she's gone. Maybe we'll see more of her in the future. I personally hope she gets her own TV show. Either way, Venom is set up in the MCU, and we'll see more of him in the future. I think it's fair to say I want him around for Secret Wars. I hope Marvel pulls a course correction. They're steaming towards more in-game level stakes and it's just not necessary. I think they should pull the stakes back again before they go huge. I'd like to see some more ground level stuff, more experimenting with tone. We've seen what a desperate fight for the fate of the universe looks like, and I think we all need a break. If you enjoyed this video, don't forget to subscribe and feel free to follow me on Patreon in the description below.
Oh, yeah. Is that letter?